Ah, the gods are angry. We're all doomed.
A miracle happened today at work. In the lower basement levels of my university, we have several laboratories that can only be accessed by magnetic cards and individual 4-digit codes, a security measure for protecting the classified research that is being conducted from unauthorized people. In my opinion, a bit excessive, and it is mostly in place because of insurance issues rather than paranoia that someone would steal the research. However, militant animal activists are a legitimate problem, so the security is warranted. One of the undergraduate students, a girl from Southern Europe, let's call her Maria, worked by herself in one of these laboratories today. She was going to hook up a gas tank to one of the cell cultivating chambers. Unfortunately, the gas tank weighs more than she does, and she lost control of it while attempting to move it. It fell, knocking over several other gas tanks, and rupturing one of the other tanks' safety valve, releasing toxic gas into the sealed lab. Panicking, Maria feverishly tried to open the door, but it refused to accept her access code. No matter how many times she punched in her code, the door remained locked. She closed her eyes, clasped her hands, and started to pray to the Virgin Mary and Jesus. Afterwards she once again let her card slip through the spring, and it was like Jesus himself guided her hand when she entered the 4 digits a final time, and this time the door opened, and she had been saved by the grace of God. Now, one could wonder why God just didn't open the door. Why would Maria need to punch in her access code? If the door had opened by itself, that would have been a greater miracle. And why didn't the door open in the first place? Nothing in the gas could have caused a malfunction in the locking mechanism. Something, perhaps Satan, first magically broke the lock, and then something, presumably God, magically fixed the lock. Because there is nothing wrong with the lock at the moment, the janitor took it apart and checked every aspect of the locking mechanism and could not find a single flaw. One could speculate that in the state of panic Maria was in, she was not able to think straight, and that her trembling finger accidentally pressed on the wrong keys, or more than one key at the same time, and that when she took the time to say a prayer, she also calmed down, lowered her pulse and rapid breathing, and then was able to enter the correct number sequence in a calm and orderly fashion. It might also be important to mention that the gas tank that broke only contained inert nitrogen gas, which our atmosphere consists of by 78% volume. Hardly a toxic gas, and that the alarm that started to sound was not because toxic gas had been released, but because another gas canister that fell over ripped out a tube to one of the cell cultivating chambers, indicating that the atmospheric properties in the chamber no longer was in accordance with the set specified values, and that the pressure was dropping. A real miracle would have been if superstition would not have led to having to change a perfectly working door, and not to have scientific research being compromised by not reattaching a simple plastic tube and sealing a nitrogen gas tank instead of evoking the power of imaginary friends to save you from atmospheric nitrogen.